Quick video on chickens. This is this afternoon's take. Figured I'd give you a quick tour of the chicken house. And here's one of the residents right here. These are Delawares, and as you can see by the bald spots and all of the feathers around here out in the pen, they've been undergoing a molt, and the feathers are growing back nicely now. This is the early fall, and it's starting to cool down a little bit in the evenings now, and they'll have plenty of feathers when the weather finally turns off cold. I'm going to step back here a little bit, and I'm sure this chicken coop has shown up in some of the past outside videos I've done, but I figured I'd give you folks a tour for those of you who are thinking about getting chickens, those of you who have chickens and might be able to pick up an idea or two, or those of you with absolutely nothing better to do than watch a video about chickens. This is an outside pen attached onto the back of the coop, and the pen is actually built in panels. The panels are just treated 2x4s, and you can see where the angle braces are attached. That's the size of a panel. So right here is where two panels join up. And the roof panels are modular as well. I can't see this, but I'm going to slip the camera up a little higher here so you can see that the entire roof of this outside pen is also covered with wire. And the reason for that is that in this part of the country it is just infested with hawks. And it's not unusual for hawks to pay close attention to a potential meal. So in order to keep the chickens safe when the hawks are out, I built a screened roof for the outside pen here as well. Nothing particularly special about this door to access from the outside. Just some scrap door hinges that I had lying around that I used. Stepping inside the pen, here's the chicken access door, so they can come from inside the coop and out into the pen anytime they want to get some fresh air or some sunshine. As you can see, they always enjoy something to eat. Usually through the course of the day I'll leave the outside pen door here open so they can step out anytime they want in free range. And chickens are kind of interesting little creatures if you've never had chickens. They get very attached to their home, and they'll spend long periods of time inside the coop and inside this fenced-in area, even when the door's open. You would think that they'd want to be outside roaming around all the time, but they actually do enjoy being inside the coop, and I guess it offers a certain degree of security for them. Let's step around and I'll give you a quick tour inside. There's nothing particularly special about the way the coop is constructed. It's just tin, ridged tin, and wood frame, and I used all treated lumber on it just to not have to worry about bug infestations or rot through the years. And then a tin roof, and on the roof there are some fiberglass panels to get some light into the coop so it's not real dark in there. So let's step in and I'll give you a quick tour inside. Doors are made out of plywood, and they are simply framed with some treated 2x4. The plywood is treated, and that prevents any kind of predators from getting inside the coop. Also, I'll mention at this point, it's very difficult to see, but maybe I can get a little shot of it here. This is actually a piece of exterior treated plywood, 1/2-inch plywood, and once I set the coop in place, I laid wire. I'm not sure if the video is picking this up, but this is actually wire that extends out probably about 2.5 feet from the house, and then it curls up, and it's pinched in between the frame of the chicken coop and this piece of exterior plywood. And the purpose of doing that is to prevent predators from being able to dig into the house. We have an abundance of fox and coyotes in this part of the country, and also raccoons and possums. And I don't know if a possum would be problematic for chickens as far as digging into the coop, but certainly a fox or a coyote would be, and quite possibly a raccoon, but I don't know. Okay, stepping inside the coop here, if there's enough light, these are roosting poles, and again, it's all 2x4 construction. The poles, I cut a little, see if I can get an end shot here. I cut a little angle on both edges just to offer the birds a little comfort when they get up there and roost. It's always entertaining to watch them pick their spot on the roosting pole in the evening. There is indeed a pecking order, and they're pretty vocal at times in terms of deciding who sits where for the night. Nothing special inside, just an old feed tray with some cracked corn and some feed in there right now. A little water pan that needs to be cleaned. They really do make a mess in their water, but I continue to keep some in here in case they want to get in and splash a little bit. I have waterers outside as well that they can't foul. These shelves in here are for roosting boxes, which are out right now, and I'm in the process of making some new little roosting. I'm actually going to use a 5-gallon bucket and try that as a little roosting nest for them to lay in and set. The back of the coop here, this is actually looking out into the pen, and here's the other side of the little access door. These are designed so they can be closed up. This is a little door that it just lifts out of the holding area here, and then I can place it in the opening down there. And the window up here is hinged. It just folds down. There's just little turns here to release it, and it just folds down and covers up the screened-in area here. And same with the windows in the front. There's another one over here with the panel. This one actually lifts out and just sits into a little track to close it up tight. I like to leave the windows open as much as possible in the warm weather, just for ventilation. If there's even the slightest breeze, it will blow through this back window and through the front windows. But you can see I've got the one over next to the roosting poles closed down right now. They always check out and see if I have a treat for them. I like to keep the this time of year when it starts to cool down, I like to keep this window by the roosting poles closed, and when it gets real cold, I'll close all of these windows in the evenings when the chickens come in, and that's just to keep the breeze, the wind off them, and let them maintain a little body heat. It doesn't get particularly cold down here, although it will get down sometimes below freezing. It doesn't last for extended periods of time, so there is no heat source in here for the cold weather. It's basically just their own natural insulation and then some additional feed. Stepping around this side where we started, here's a hose rack. This is a freeze-proof water faucet, and I'm sure that a lot of you folks who live on a farm or in a rural area who have water run out to outbuildings or barns are familiar with this type of device here. It's actually kind of ingenious for you folks not familiar with it. There's a standpipe here, and this pipe actually extends down probably 2.5 or 3 feet into the ground. And they make these in different lengths depending on where you live and how deep your frost line is in the wintertime. So this actually extends down below the frost line, and we have a very shallow frost line in this part of the country. And there's a shaft here. You can see this brass shaft. As I pull this lever up, it's actually lifting this brass shaft, and there's actually a washer, a valve down at the bottom of this pipe, 2 or 3 feet underground, and that is what is allowing the water to flow. The valve is actually way down underground, so it can't freeze. And when you close this, when you close the lever up top here, and the plunger operates and drives the shaft down deep in the faucet, it actually opens up a little drain port, and this thing is buried in crushed stone. So all the plumbing comes in under that crushed stone and hooks up to this fixture underground. And when you close this valve down, it actually drains all of this water out through that little drain port that's down in the crushed stone. So there's actually, when this is closed, there is no water in any of this pipe once it drains, so there's nothing to freeze and burst. Of course, in the cold weather, you don't want to leave a hose attached to it, because there is water left in that hose and it will freeze, and if it doesn't drain from this upper part of the faucet, it potentially could freeze and burst it. So this is a little fold down work table, and again, it's just some scrap hinges that I had, and some chains. It's built out of some scrap treated lumber. And let's see, I'm going to show you what these buckets here now. These are just standard, I think they might be 30 or 35 gallon trash cans, metal trash cans. And this is where I keep all the feed and supplies for the birds. In this bucket I've got some shell, and there's some grit, and then an extra bag of cracked corn. These are just buckets to be able to dip out the feed. This bucket over here contains some mash, and this is actually a fine concoction of different grains and nutrients for the chickens, and is formulated specifically for chickens. And then over in this bucket, we can open it. We've got cracked corn. And this is just basically field corn and some wheat that's busted up. And they like both of them. And then of course the feed buckets are conveniently located under a little overhang just to keep the weather off you when you have to come out and feed. And also up under here the roof has a couple of fiberglass panels just to give you a little light up under here. You'll notice that around the buckets there's a chain, and the chain is just to keep the varmints from getting in there and tipping these buckets over. We do have bears in the woods back here. I've never seen one up close to the house, but there are bears in the woods, and there are most definitely deers that come right up in this field out here in the evening. I don't know if a deer would ever come up and try to tip this over for something to eat, but deer certainly do love corn. So the idea was just to make it a little more difficult for a varmint to come in here and tip these buckets over. And I decided to use metal instead of plastic because I have heard through the years that a determined squirrel will gnaw through a plastic bucket if they want to get what's inside. And I suspect that maybe a determined rat would do the same thing. Alright, now before I sign off, there's one of the sanitary waterers right there. Those stay a lot cleaner simply because they can't, it's a lot more difficult for them to kick junk in there. They can get a little junk into that tray, but they tend to stay a lot cleaner. On the other side, across the coop, this is just a field out here. And what I've done with this field is just to allow it to grow up. And I'll cut these pathways in, and they're kind of chicken walkways. And these stands of grass are actually bug sanctuaries, and the bugs will go into those tall stands of grass and do whatever bugs do. And the chickens know that if they walk down these pathways and kind of thrash around a little bit in these sections with tall grass, that there's all kinds of bug treats in there for them, and they'll come out through the day and just graze for hours free range, and they'll eat copious amounts of bugs. So that's the 5-cent tour of the chicken coop. Hope you enjoyed it. Whoop. Who was that just flew by? You just never know what you'll find out here. Until next time.